tells Jeremiah, listen, before you were even formed, I knew you. I set you apart for nations. Imagine that. He knows everything there is to know about you. And yet he said, I have a plan for you. God was not taking a chance on you. He wasn't taking a chance on me. He knew exactly who he was choosing for what he has called you for. He knew exactly who he was gifting with the gift that you're being asked to fan into flame. He knew. That the Hebrew word for the word knew is not just head knowledge. It means deep, personal, intentional relationship. Like how a shepherd would know his sheep. Like how a mother would know their child's cry. Right now, I want to believe if Fidelis cried outside there, even if you're not a mother, you would know. You'd even been, and if Mrs. was here, I would be you see where to kweli? Because there's something that is knowledge. It is not ati nimesikia kukuhusu na kujua. You are not an afterthought. You and I are not afterthoughts. God did not run out of options. No. Don't think that you have the assignment you have because God didn't have other people to send. You are an intentional work of a purposeful God. So don't let your background define your destiny. Because God's knowledge of you is bigger than man's opinion of you. So if you would remember that you're known, that you were known, and you are fully equipped. You see, when I say that that you are known before you are being formed, that God knew that for a certain time T, he would need you for a certain assignment. So your assignment preceded your selection. He chose you. He knew what he would need you to do before even you existed. You need to trust that. You need to trust that God didn't choose you because he had no option. You need to trust that God didn't choose you because he thought you were good enough, but because he was already going to make you good enough for that which he has called you to do. Number 2, you are formed with precision and value. You are formed with precision and value. Fearfully and wonderfully made. I've heard it said that some of us are more fearfully than wonderfully made. It means, don't worry, you can be fierce and still wonderful. The Bible tells us in Psalm 139 verse 15 to 16, my frame was not hidden from you. This is the psalmist saying, David, my frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance. Substance. Ukienda kupika chai. When you're going to make there's always a substance from which something is made. So he's saying, your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed. When you go to hospitals, when a child is not yet developed, they will say it's a fetus. It's not yet a human being. But you see, what the doctors will call not yet a human being, which sometimes they will use as a legit reason to allow people to abort, God has already seen a human being in that. Because David is saying, even when my substance was not yet formed, you knew me. In your book, they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. The psalmist says, my frame was not hidden from you. In other words, God was the architect of your being. He designed every detail. Your body, mind, your abilities, and even your temperament. When you are being formed in your mother's womb, it wasn't random. God was shaping you. There is a reason why it was just a substance being formed. Because now God was working on and saying, listen, I had a purpose for my child Grace. I knew she would be a pastor's wife. Now, And the people that they're going to pastor, they'll have people like Shaan. Kichwa ngumu, first of all. They are in their own world, different backgrounds, different. They're all going to come with their own talents, gifts, annoyance. So, and now this son of mine, Willie, he's the one I'm calling. Hey, he has to be a father. He has to be all these things. Hey, let me, this substance that is being formed, this grace, let me form her enough, even with her temperament and abilities, to be the right person, to stand in that gap so that this church may be built. Listen, if I know for sure, me as I stand, God forbid if I was, hii church ingekuwa. Pastor angekuwa mwingine wala. Ingekuwa tofauti. Because the abilities and the grace and the gifting, as I was being formed, they were not for that. Your appointment, your purpose, your gifts, even your temperaments. Mimi nakwambia sijui. Tungekuwa holiday, tungekuwa tunafunga church every now and then. For me to rethink if actually this is the purpose, because kuna vitu zingine singeweza. And God knew that when that substance was being formed, Zainab wasn't part of that plan. For her, she was going to come and either add to or subtract. And by His grace, I would like to believe I'm adding. Are we getting? So that gift that you're saying is not good enough. Okay, these people here in this church need it. They need it. So when we are told to fan into flame, usianze kusema, Mimi, he knew you would be here. He knew you'd be the one ushering. He knew you'd be the one working on camera. He knew. And an important phrase I want us to remember is this. And in your book, they all were written, the days fashioned for me when as yet there was none. Listen, purpose precedes selection. Everything fashioned is fashioned to fulfill a purpose. The last trip I made to Canada, I wanted a spice, that thing that holds spices. What do we call that? A spice cabinet or something. And I didn't mention that I wanted it and we were going to the timber yard. So when Dad comes back, I'm like, I want something for putting spices. He's like, hey, I don't think I have wood for that. Because he chooses wood based on the purpose. And he didn't have my purpose when he went to the shop. So he looks at like, let me check. Then he goes and sees this. He had a table. They had had a table for over 30 years. And he had kept hizo miguu. He was like, he held it and was like, maybe this one will work. But he had to have purpose before he could choose. Sindio? When you and I go into a lumber yard right now or a timber yard, we will see just wood. Sindio? When a carpenter enters, what do they see? Chairs, beds, stools. They see different things. Or do we want to believe that the same wood that made that is the same wood that made the other table? Is it the same? No. Why? The person that chose the wood had to have what they needed made before they could choose the wood. You are not just known. You are appointed and selected for a particular purpose before even that purpose can be put in place. For something, when the psalmist said you fashioned, for something to be fashioned, it means it has been specifically and intentionally designed, created, adapted to serve a particular function or goal. It speaks to the careful craftsmanship and selection of the person that is creating. So when we are told to fan into flames our gift, so many of us step back and wonder, do I have a gift? But he says to each one of us, we've been given a gift according to our abilities. There is no coincidence, no try and error. The Creator has a specific plan in mind from the beginning. It means the characteristics, features, and form of the creation are all tailored to make it perfectly suited for its intended use. Everything that you need to be who God has called you to be, he pre-installed. When he said, I am calling, I have appointed you, he didn't appoint you and then get shocked. Kuna kitu nilisahau kuweka. There's something I forgot to put in my son career. I don't think he will be able to do that because hiyo kitu nilipatia James. It is not possible. God has already planned your story. The days, the details, not necessarily to control us, but to guide us in his purpose. You and I might look unfinished, like a piece of wood that has just been cut, but in his eyes, we are becoming exactly what he envisioned. And as you and I choose to fan into flame the gift that God has given us, we not only discover our divine appointment, but our purpose begins to take shape. The activities, everything, whatever it is that you need, has been pre-installed. Uko nayo. We are not asking, God is not asking us this year to fan into flame what he has not yet, what he hasn't put. Whatever it is that needs to be fanned is already there. And so you don't need to compare yourself with anyone else, because comparison will steal your purpose. You are uniquely formed for the role in God's plan. The challenge we have is this: we put ourselves in other people's plans. The challenge we have is this: the one that says, I alone know the plans I have for you, akituambia tu kidogo ndio tushakimbia, we already think we know. So when we are told, please fan into flame the gift of God, you start thinking, now me, what can I do? Fanning into flame means what? I wake up early in the morning. At mi ndio huyo naenda practice. Mi ndio huyo naenda maombi. Lakini Sunday kifika mwenye amekuwa maombi from Monday to Sunday, because they have been graced differently. Akimaliza kupreach, sisi ndio hawa kwa line. Ndio tuombewe. Because they have spent the whole time fanning into flame what? The gift. They have decided to accept that they are known and purposed and called and appointed for such a time as this, so they show up. Sisi, hatujaumbwa for that. I don't have the ability. Vivian, acha kuniangalia hivyo. Just fan into flame. You know, we realized this week that years ago, before I got born again, I was teaching the Quran and the Hadith to the Muslim women. You see, when you finish praying, the men are this side, the women are this side. So the Imam gives the khutbah, the sermon. But now after that, the men stay that side. That's the women. We used to sit on this side. So now you start explaining to the women the Quran, the Hadith, what pertains women. And I realized, listen, even there I was fanning into flame. I had the gift of talking, of teaching and speaking. So now, as it's being fanned, bado, the gift is here. Ni mimi tu, ninaongea, I talk. But that gift has to be fanned. When you're given a gift, you unwrap it. When you unwrap it, do you keep it? You use it. Your limitations don't disqualify you. Sometimes the things we think are weaknesses are part of the design. Moses stammered and still God sent him. So what gift do you think you don't have? Or do you feel you're not gifted enough? Maybe God made a mistake. Oh my goodness. If there's anyone, I think I've told myself that very many times until I think this message was for me. Because the many times I've disqualified myself from certain things because I don't feel. You hear that feel? The heart is deceptive. Who can trust it? I know the truth. But somehow I feel I'm not qualified. So right now I want us to think for a minute and ask ourselves, are you content with how God formed you? Are you content with the gift he has given you?